Guys, welcome to the I Love CVille Show. My name is Jerry Miller. Thank you kindly for joining us. It's great to connect with you through the I Love CVille Network. I feel fall in the air, and when I think fall, I think tailgating, I think backyard cookouts, I think having a good time with friends and family, and oftentimes that encompasses a huge platter of Chick-fil-A nuggets. We're going to welcome Will Taylor, who is the entrepreneur and the businessman behind Chick-fil-A in Fashion Square. He and his wife have done a fantastic job of running this business. We're going to spotlight Will on the program and his evolution as an entrepreneur. If you would like to participate in the discussion and share your thoughts and perspective, please do so in the comments section of any of the 12 Facebook pages you're watching this show on. This program powered in part thanks to Interstate Pest and Service Companies. This business started in 1969 with the first generation. It's a family business. And in 1969, Mr. Robert Wells, Bobby, was the first generation. He used his personal truck and a dream to build a company. Today, Interstate Pest and Service Companies is 4 generations of family strong, almost 100 employees in the company, and a footprint that pretty much encompasses all of the Commonwealth of Virginia. Think about that evolution from 1969 to 2019. That's pretty impressive growth. We also love working alongside Dr. Wagner of Scott Wagner Chiropractic and Sports Medicine. Whether it's physical therapy, sports medicine, or chiropractic care, Dr. Wagner has your back. Judah, if you could, go to the studio cam, and let's welcome Will Taylor to the show. Good afternoon, Will.
Good afternoon. How are you? Thanks for having me.
Our pleasure. We have had, like you mentioned off air, we've bumped into each other around town. Right. We've had kind of like, the quintessential Charlottesville where everyone's like 2 or 3 degrees apart.
Right.
And we've had a chance to get to know each other through colleagues and friends.
Right.
Michael Guthrie comes to mind.
Yep. He's a strong supporter.
I feel like, and I think you mentioned to me one time that Michael Guthrie almost has an honorary seat.
He has an honorary seat. You're
at
exactly
Chick-fil-A?
Right. Yes, him and his wife. They sure do.
So Michael and Dottie said, you got to meet Will. Will and Erica, his wife, are doing amazing things in the community. Yeah. Before we get to it, how about just who is Will Taylor?
Yeah, I am a mid-30s guy. I'm born and raised in North Carolina, actually. Okay. From Greenville, North Carolina, where East Carolina University is. I always like to say that because there's Greenville, South Carolina, and North Carolina. I'm in the north part. Okay. Greenville, North Carolina. I went to college at North Carolina Central University in Durham, North Carolina. Studied business management there. Upon graduating, I got a job working with AT&T in there as a sales manager or sales team member, and out there in Indianapolis, Indiana, is where I kind of started out with them. And after about 1.5 years, I decided to kind of venture down a path of entrepreneurship, trying to figure out exactly what I wanted to do, and I stumbled upon Chick-fil-A. And that was back in actually 2009. It was September 2009, so 10 years ago, almost to the day. Wow. I started as a team member at a location in Indianapolis off of 82nd Street called Chick-fil-A Keystone at the Crossing. And then I managed that location for 1 year. Then I managed a mall location for the same operator at Charlottesville Square in Indianapolis, Indiana as well. Worked for 2 years with corporate after managing those 2 restaurants, and then Erica and I came back to now what we call home in Charlottesville, and took over the Charlottesville Fashion Square location in May 1st, 2014.
So when you came here a little over 5 years ago, yeah, was it the first time either of you had been to the area?
No, my wife is actually from the area.
Okay, she's from the area.
She's from there. She went to Madison County High School.
Okay, go Mountaineers.
Right. And then she went to, I always asked her, what is a mountaineer? I always joke with her about that. What's a mountaineer?
Is it just a mountain person?
I guess it is. I still don't know what it is. So she's a mountaineer. And so she went to the University of Richmond. Okay. And then we left Virginia for a while, and then we finally got a chance to come back, and we love it here. This is home now. And
how'd you guys meet?
We met actually in college. We were both a part of a campus ministry, and they'd have different chapters across the the nation really. And they had a regional conference, and a friend of mine was dating her friend, and I found her. She liked to say I stalked her, but I found her on Facebook. And And we actually started, back in those days on Facebook, you used to be able to poke people.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
So I poked her, she poked me, and then I got her number, and then we finally started talking over the phone, and then we actually met again face to face at a different conference, and that was March of 2006 actually, and then we officially made it official on I never forget it, May 11th, 2006 is when we officially started dating. And then the rest is, as they say, history.
So I would say that there's some ways you charmed her a little bit, right?
I like to say that.
Yeah.
right. I tried to, spit game, as they used to say, a little bit, try to get her, and it worked. I'm a blessed guy.
Kieran Corbala says, Will is awesome. I enjoy seeing him in the Fashion Square Mall at Chick-fil-A. Will, you rock?
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you.
If you'd like to relay something to Will, put it in the comment section. I'm happy to pass it along to him. So when you met your wife, did you feel like, all right, this is the one I'm spend some time with here?
Honestly,
did you know?
I honestly did.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, when I first saw her, as I just told you, I have a really weird memory. I can remember just the random things. I can still remember what she was first wearing when I first saw her. And that was in September 2005, actually, and at the official conference with another. That's where I found out that her friend was dating my friend and all that good stuff. So, but anyway, I can still remember what she was wearing. When I first saw her, I was like, wow, And then when we first started talking, I said, this could be the one, And so we got married actually in 2010,
wow.
March 20th, 2010, and so we'll be celebrating 10 years actually in 2020. And we have my son. I have a son named Luke. As if you come to my restaurant, most likely you'll see him running around the mall or wiping down tables. That's his task when he comes in order to get a cookie. And so his name is Luke, and he's 5 years old. Just turned 5 August 25th. So 2014 was a busy year.
David Lieberton, looking good, Will. We love you and your family very much.
Thanks,
relay some perspective to Will in the comments section. I love it, man. So many similarities with my wife and I. My better half, work actively in the business.
Yeah.
We have soon to be 18-month-old. We're here pretty much every weekend.
Yeah.
Probably both days. If it's a good weekend, we're here a couple hours, and I'm able to get something on the TV like Frozen or what's the guy? Blimpie. He's really into Blimpie right now. And I'm able to get his entertainment while my wife and I are able to do work here. If it's a tough time, we're here 3 or 4 or 5 hours, and then he's trying to tear the place down.
Right.
He's 18 months, he gets into everything.
Yeah.
I love that you're raising your son in the business. That's what we're trying to do as well. Teaching the work ethic. This is what mom and dad have to go through.
Exactly.
How about the husband and wife launching a business side?
Yeah.
Open-ended with that question first. That is not an easy task.
It's not an easy task, and I can honestly say I don't think Erica really knew what she was signing up for.
How did that start? Because you were working at Chick-fil-A right before you guys met.
Got married. Well, no, actually I was working at AT&T.
Okay, gotcha.
And so we were in college when we met, but when we got engaged, I had just left AT&T.
Okay.
And AT&T Mobility, formerly Singular Wireless, and I said, that conversation, I can still recall it with her parents, was pretty interesting because I had resigned from AT&T in February of 2009, and my last day was like March 1st, something like that. And then I went and proposed in March of 2009. And so the question was, well, how are you going to provide for the family?
Sure.
And
fair question.
The answer at that time was, I think I want to become a Chick-fil-A owner operator. Okay, so how long does that take? And the answer was, I don't know. So that was a little bit nerve-wracking for everybody. But they believed in me. My parents believed in me, and so I come from a long line on my side of entrepreneurs. My dad owned a Christian bookstore growing up, and I grew up working with him, alongside of him. We used to have contests in the bookstore, and so I learned a lot of sales techniques from there, and marketing techniques, and just how to really relate to people. It was also located in a mall as well, and so I kind of cut my teeth when it comes to entrepreneurship inside of a mall, very similar to what we have here in Charlottesville. So it felt very natural for me, but for Erica, I just tried to explain to her that, look, it's a great opportunity. Once I became a manager of the location, and things got the ball rolling down that path, she began to see the vision begin to unfold. And then when I went down to Chick-fil-A corporate, and got the job down there as a corporate owned. So basically, they have a leadership development program, and so I joined that program in order to gain more experience on how to run a business, and especially a restaurant. And upon doing that, she actually got a job also training at the home office as well, which she actually still does to this day, actually. So. So she began to see the vision, and then the ball started to roll in the right direction, and she's fully on board now. She handles all of our social media at this point, and she kind of just tells me where to stand, and then she kind of has the whole vision behind that part.
Leontini Clay Peck, hi Will. You're a very nice young man. The food is good. You're so very supportive of the Charlottesville community. Tia Lee, hey Will, proud and happy for you.
Thanks.
And your family. Eagle Pride.
Yes.
Julie Austin, such a sweet, hardworking Christian couple. Proud of y'all. Love you, Taylor family. Keep on shining for him. If you'd like to relay some messages to Will, I'm happy to do it. Just put it in the comment section.
Thank you.
How about, when you go into the mindset, I want to be an owner-operator at Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
How do we get to that mindset?
Yeah, so I had looked at several different franchises, actually. When I left AT&T, I knew I wanted to do something in the either restaurant space or other entertainment, like a movie theater. I had originally wanted to do real estate developing, but that was around 2008, 2009.
Tough time.
Yeah. So I did not feel like that was a good route for me at that particular time, and so did some research, and I looked into Steak and Shake, Quiznos, and then Chick-fil-A, and Chick-fil-A kind of fit right where I mean, the 6 days a week kind of really intrigued me. It wasn't 7 days a week. I love the food as well.
Food's great.
Food is great.
It's a step above all fast food.
Yeah,
I truly mean that.
Yeah, I appreciate it, and we work hard to make sure that is the case, and that we continue to keep that brand going the way it was started back in 1965, actually 64. But I basically decided that Chick-fil-A was the best fit for me, and especially after meeting the owner-operator in Indianapolis. We also had mutual friends. It's kind of the same kind of deal like with us. I just met him around town, or met other friends of his around town, and they all pointed me to his name is Jeff Mosley. They pointed me to him, and I loved his energy, and he had a great team as well. And so I actually came on board as a team member. So I didn't go straight to manager. I was a team member from September of 2009 to December. And when I told him, I said, I'm really serious about wanting to become an owner-operator. Like, what do I need to do?
You're like, learn it from the ground up?
Yeah.
Is that what they said?
Well, he didn't necessarily say that, but he said, well, if you're really serious, let's see. Because not everybody who says that really wants to do it.
That's like a weed-out process.
Exactly. Yeah. So from September to December, I worked day in and day out, sometimes 12, 13-hour days, open to close, and did that. And then he saw that I was very serious, became a manager in January of 2010, and started learning other aspects of the business, which has evolved even since then. Actually, it's a totally different kind of business now, but I started learning those different types of the drive-through and just other ways on how to lead people. Then I went to the mall, which was a little bit slower volume, but it had its own challenges as well that enabled me to learn more about how to run that type of business and that volume and how to lead people in that particular environment. And so a corporate partner of ours. So Chick-fil-A has different business consultants that come in to consult with the owner operator about ways to
optimize.
Optimize, increase your sales or just customer experience. How can we improve in those metrics? And I met him, and he said, "Man, I think the next step for you, Will, is to come down and join our leadership development program. I think you have what it takes." And so with that encouragement, I applied. Went down and interviewed, got a chance to meet Truett Cathy, actually the founder of Chick-fil-A at that time. I had a very brief but very impactful conversation with him, and that kind of marked me, and I just knew I was on the right path from that point on.
Do you? I'm intrigued by entrepreneurial mindset, and you certainly an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
When you're launching the business, did you ever think start a brand from scratch? Start a business from scratch?
I did. And for me, I like the idea of franchising mainly because I'm like what they call entrepreneurial spirited guy, meaning I like to take ideas that are already there and figure out a way to make it better or how to grow it from the inside out. Whereas some people are very entrepreneurial like yourself, from the ground up, nothing, they just have an idea. And I will say, I did try that route, actually. Me and two other friends of mine tried to start a marketing or like a web development firm as soon as I left AT&T. And they were the web developers. I was supposed to be the sales guy.
You securing the business.
Exactly. So after about several meetings, especially this is 2009 again, okay?
Yeah.
So not really many
Tough
people
time.
were trying. They didn't see the vision of putting their business on a website and trying to
I remember what that was like.
Yeah.
I launched this ad agency in 2008.
Oh wow!
And for the first 6 months, zero business.
Yes, you're literally. Yeah. I mean, I think I got maybe a couple. I mean, outside I was doing a lot of cold calling, driving out to different places, trying to explain to them that, hey, trust me, you want to have somewhere for your customers to go online.
But at that point, they were just trying to keep the lights on.
You're exactly right.
And payroll.
One company literally was like, my bank just shut down or got bought out by another bank. I don't know what's going on.
Right.
And he said, I'm not making any decisions right now. So, after that experience, I said, I need to figure out something else.
Yeah.
And so that's when I started to really research, Chick-fil-A and meeting the team members up there and going down that route.
Do you?
My dad did it too, though. And I saw that too from the ground up. My dad started that Christian bookstore. There was no Christian bookstore, I think, other than one in Greenville, North Carolina. But they weren't. It was a little bit different. And as far as how they marketed, how where they were located, what kinds of things they were actually into with the community. Not that they were bad, but my dad had a totally different vision. We actually used to host a downtown music festival with different gospel artists and all kinds of things to really, get people excited about coming to our bookstore and buying music and books and things of that nature. And so, my dad worked a lot. My mom helped with that a lot as well. She did mostly. I have 3 other siblings, so she was mostly at home as well, trying to make sure that we were getting to school on time, stuff like that. But right after school, some days I was going straight to the bookstore and dusting shelves or
it's just like how I was grew up. My mom and dad were. My dad was a CPA, and they own a CPA and accounting firm. My mom would interface with the clients up front. She was the bubbly one.
Yeah.
And my dad was in the office in the back, the least bubbly one, but the one that got the work done. And my brother and I, after school, we would go to what was then the copier room.
Gotcha.
Where there was an entire room allocated to like this huge copier and printer.
And we copy stuff.
And just copy, and we would just copy stuff, we'd dust, but we grew up similar to you.
Right.
And from an entrepreneurial family is what I mean. Let me throw this to you here. When you're on Chick-fil-A's leadership, the corporate team, do you see an opportunity with this Charlottesville store? And you're like, this is where we can go? I mean, how do you go from the leadership corporate team to Charlottesville? Is it wanting to get back to the area because your wife's family's from here?
Exactly. We lived in Indianapolis for, I want to say 4 years. Well, I lived there from 2008 until 2012. So I moved down to Atlanta. And we got married in 2010, so she lived there for only 2 years. But It was. She has a very large family, and most of the siblings are very. Everybody's close, and so getting back to the East Coast was very important to her and myself. I mean, I'm close to my family too, but it was very important for her and for me to get back to the East Coast. And so when the opportunity came up, the owner before me got an opportunity in Arizona, which is where his family was, or some of his family was. He wanted to get back out there, Arizona. And so the opportunity came up for Charlottesville, and we were like, oh my gosh, we got to jump on that. And so I applied and went through the whole process, and that's why we decided to come back here. And we were married here. I mean, so there's just so many good memories here. Yeah, ties here as well, and it's close to my family in North Carolina. So depends on the traffic in Richmond, but by 3 to 3.5 hour drive. So it was a lot better than 12 hours from Indianapolis, So here we felt like it was a good location for both families.
When you're looking at the Charlottesville store, what are you looking at? You're looking at the financials, you're looking at the location, you're looking at the market, what do you look at when you're thinking about taking over a business?
Yeah, I look at growth potential for sure. I look at the opportunity to get involved with the community. How can we give back? Look at opportunities for partnering as well. And for me, it was family support as well. That was another big deal there. But in regards to Chick-fil-A, I saw that, well, first of all, it was an opportunity for us to get back. So that was number one. Sure. Number two, I wanted to continue to get better at how to run a profitable, restaurant, especially at inside of a mall where it's a little bit more challenging, right? Sure. So wanted to figure out some of those things and take on that challenge. But really, when it came for this particular business, it was all about family, and the opportunity. Chick-fil-A is not like other franchises where it's like you say, I have an opportunity, or I own land at Zion Crossroads, for instance. People always ask me, hey, Will, can you build one at Zion Crossroads? I'm like, well, it doesn't work that way. Chick-fil-A, looks at opportunities. I'm a 50-50 partner, basically, with Chick-fil-A. They're my partners. They're kind of like the financiers. I'm the operating partner. And so they have more say on where, and then I have more say on how. Like how to grow the business, how can we market? There are parameters for sure. For brand consistency purposes, but for the most part, they give a lot of autonomy to the owner operator on how to grow that business. And so I wanted that. I wanted that autonomy, but I also wanted the brand recognition that already came with Chick-fil-A. A lot of people, that's one thing about franchising that I did appreciate, is that, building
a brand is hard.
I applaud you. I applaud you and everybody else that started from scratch. I'm like, I could not have. It's hard to do that.
It is hard.
And it's hard alone when you have a small business that has a brand like Chick-fil-A to kind of continue to reinvent yourselves and compete with other people. But when you're starting from scratch, man, that is. So I applaud people like that.
Yeah, let me throw this to you. So and I love this conversation. And a lot of people, let's thank some of the people. Marcus Terrell, bro, you've made it a long way from Statensburg Road. Yeah, congratulations from Marcus Terrell. Keisha Cherry, great job, Will. You're crushing this interview.
Thank you.
Give it a like, give it a share, just like Sandy Nobles, David Fernandez.
Oh, yeah, wow.
Gerald Jones, Shad Hargrove, Dennis Walton. Yeah. We got some other questions coming in that we're going to get to here momentarily. Does Chick-fil-A own the land when the new locations are opening up?
Typically, Chick-fil-A either buys it outright or they have a long-term lease, and then the owner-operator leases it back from them.
Okay, and that makes sense because Chick-fil-A has the the financial resources
Right.
to buy Class A real estate
Right.
in the heart of a place and basically says to the owner operator, look, this is the best spot possible to run the business.
Right.
Do it here.
Right.
We'll essentially be the bank.
Right.
Because as an owner operator, it's going to be X amount of millions of dollars just to secure the land.
Exactly.
We're going to do that for you.
Exactly.
And then you optimize this footprint as much as possible.
Right. So Chick-fil-A, one of the things, another reason why I chose Chick-fil-A is the entry point was a little bit closer to realistic for me.
Okay.
I could have. I mean, I actually did have quite a bit of resources in Indianapolis to put together a group potentially and go and
an ownership group.
Yeah, ownership group to
Nice.
go get some Quiznos or Steak and Shakes or whatever the case was.
Is that hard to do? I've always wanted to do something like that. Everything I've done so far has been bootstrapped or self-financed.
Yeah.
And I've always thought about how you could like scale and expedite a business with like outside capital, almost private equity.
Right.
And like scale quickly.
It's scary because you can't. It's a huge risk.
Yeah.
Especially for the person that is doing the asking
Right.
for it, because you're taking other people's money. I mean,
Right.
that's not easy to do. And then what happens if you don't execute?
What do? Do you put a bunch of personal on the line?
Yeah, personal online. Or now, like I said, I didn't do that. What I was going to do is say, look, guys, kind of very similar to what Chick-fil-A offered for me as far as, hey, I have an idea, I have the energy. And I'm willing to do whatever it takes to get it started, but I need some help here. And I didn't even get to that point before I recognized that Chick-fil-A was where I wanted to go. And so Chick-fil-A entry level is $10,000. Now what you don't hear
Per location?
Per location.
Okay.
But what you don't hear is the amount of people who are also going for that. So we typically get, I think the last number I heard was around 40,000 expressions of interest annually.
Wow.
And so you get
40,000 individual parties expressing interest to Chick-fil-A about opening a location.
You're exactly right.
Get out.
And
that's a ton.
That's a ton. And they maybe award, I want to say they award maybe 100 a year, maybe 150 a year. And so in 2014, I was
so that's 150 new locations opening a year.
Or
reinvented locations.
Current locations.
Yeah.
Right. So mine was Chick-fil-A Fashion Square is 39 years old this year. Actually, March 5th, 1980 was when it was grand opened. In the same place inside Fashion Square Mall. So it's 39 years old. But yeah, it's one of those things where
that is so competitive.
It's so competitive.
Yeah.
And so I had to really work hard to prove myself, which is why I went the route that I took.
Right.
I didn't have much experience running a restaurant, let alone a business by myself.
Yeah.
And so I went the leadership development route. But so you have 40,000 expressions of interest. That gets dwindled down. You have a couple of, and now they do a little bit differently. You have to send in a video. Then you have a FaceTime interview.
Get out.
If you get past the FaceTime interview, then you are, I think, invited down to corporate, and then to kind of assess to see if you are going to be a good fit.
And this is the vetting process.
And then we can talk about locations, And so that was why when the opportunity came up for Charlottesville, I went hard after it because I wanted to get in.
Yeah.
My goal was to get in, and then to kind of figure out from there, where to go from there. But yeah, so that was what it would take, what it took. Now there are some other franchise fees and things that kind of go along with that, but it's worth it in the end because, like you said, some of these buildings that you have to build cost millions of dollars.
Right.
And what happened was Truett Cathy a long time ago said, I want to expand this business, but I don't know how to do it without actually bringing on, how do I franchise this, but do it in a smart way where we can control have more brand consistency, basically, not necessarily control, but brand consistency. And he offered this one of his employees opportunity to be a partner and split the profits 50-50 if she would take over this second location. So she did it, and all he asked at that time was $5,000. And so that's how the franchising started with Chick-fil-A back in the 1960s. And we were only in malls at the time. We were the pioneer
That's how I fell in love with the brand.
In the mall?
Yeah, in the mall.
Yeah. So we were a pioneer with that. We also pioneered Chick-fil-A nuggets. McDonald's took over after that, and they kind of, they had a huge marketing campaign, but we started with nuggets. And so we've been pioneers for a while, and even in how we franchise the business for brand consistency purposes. So I mean, overall, it's a great brand. I enjoy it. My wife enjoys it. We've learned a lot. The leadership development process I went through was like a MBA. I will say it was MBA level. I learned so much about leadership, about how to run a business, and it's not as easy. People think it's easy. People think that you just open it up and you go, but what people don't realize is that when you're running a business, you have to make sure that your people have a vision to tie to what they're doing. If they don't know why they're doing something, then they won't do it well, or there's an opportunity for them to not do it well, which would then take away from your overall business, And so trying to keep people engaged has been the biggest challenge. It hasn't even really been, brand recognition. People know Chick-fil-A, but how do I keep my people engaged so that they want to come to work, so that they want to put forth a great Chick-fil-A sandwich or some great Chick-fil-A, nuggets, or we hand squeeze our lemons for lemonade. So how do you make that, to the best of your ability, And so anyways, trying to keep them engaged has been the biggest challenge.
Is managing people, when it stacks up on things that you have to do as essentially the CEO.
Right.
Where does managing people stack up in those things?
It's something I think about all the time. Matter of fact, I'm reading a book. I mean,
do you enjoy it?
Yeah, I do, because I still love people. And so in my restaurant, they call me Coach Taylor.
Okay.
Because my job is to coach and help you develop whether you stay with me long term or not. My goal is that you will leave my restaurant or leave my, I guess, being an employee of ours better.
It's a better version of yourself.
As a better version, better when you leave when you came in.
That's
awesome. Know what I'm saying? And so I have some team members that come back and as customers. Some leave and come back as, hey, I want to come back, join your team again. And some leave and never come back, which is fine.
Sure.
You got to have thick skin like that sometimes. But I enjoyed that process of coaching and developing my team. I really believe that age is nothing but a number, and that you could be 16 years old and help me run $1 million plus business. And I do have that. We have a couple of high school students that help me that are in a leadership basically internship, I would say. I call it my lit team members, leaders in training. But so I really just want to help people develop starting in high school, because, and here's the deal too, a lot of people have a lot of great ideas, but they don't know how to manage people, manage people.
Manage people, gotcha.
Because or not manage or lead them. lead people, because you're going to need people to help you execute your idea. Because people look at Facebook, or people look at, and I mean, Facebook is a great example, quite frankly. How many people churned through that business when he first started because he did not know how to lead people? Now he's obviously he has one of the biggest companies, so he figured something out. Yeah. Maybe even if it was just how do I pay you? He went public and said, let me pay you really well. But if you're starting a small business, yes, the idea is just as important as how to and learning how to lead the people that you bring on to help you execute the business. Because you can't. I like this. What a guy named Marcus Lemonis says is people, process, and product. Yeah. People are first.
Love the Prophet.
People are the Prophet. Yes, exactly. That's my favorite shows.
Yeah.
The people are first, and one of the things we say in Chick-fil-A too is first you have a vision. You personally have to have a vision, but then you have to be able to have people to buy into that vision. And so we have vision, people, and then it's your customer experience and your brand growth, and then you have financial return. But that's kind of like our 5 critical success factors that we talk about internally. But vision is first, and the people is second, because without vision, what are your people going to do? But without people, how are you going to execute your vision? You know what I'm saying? So the two go hand in hand together.
Mary Ellen Barber Bicknell, she says,
Oh,
my
yeah.
star preschool student loved my will.
That's so funny. Yes, Miss Bicknell. Oh, hey, how are you?
She's watching right now. Give it a like and a share on any of the streams that you're watching. This is a funny little kind of icebreaker. Do you ever get so hungry that you secretly open up on Sunday?
Oh my gosh.
Do you get that all the time?
I do get that a lot.
Because it is so frustrating. On Sunday, your food is so good.
Everybody's hungry. I mean, there have been times.
Sunday's a great day for it.
It's a great day it's a great day for it. I got it. But every day is a great day for Chick-fil-A,
Right.
in my opinion. And quite frankly, since 2009, I think I've eaten Chick-fil-A almost every day.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, I think, Thanksgiving. Well, so there's 2 days for sure I don't eat it. Thanksgiving.
What's your
Christmas.
go-to?
Well, lately, in my 30s now,
you're getting healthy.
I've had to go more to the grill.
Okay.
The grilled club with bacon. I still add the bacon and Chick-fil-A sauce.
You got to.
But as my side, I don't add fries. I have fruit because fruit have like only 80 calories. I want to say, whereas the fries are like double that. Even with no salt. So
dude, you're lean and mean though.
I know. I'm trying to stay that way.
Yeah.
That's the goal. So I try to exercise. But in the past, it was just the Chick-fil-A sandwich.
Yeah, so good.
I mean, with extra pickles. I do extra pickles and extra butter.
Yeah.
So Chick-fil-A sandwich, extra butter, extra pickle. Sometimes I started adding a multi-grain bun or brioche bun on that as well to kind of lean more to the healthier side, but lately I've been eating more of the grilled.
And you sneak in there on Sundays?
No, I do not. Sorry.
You do not do that?
Answer your question. I try to really. One of the reasons.
That's like your hiatus.
Yeah, one of the reasons why Chick-fil-A, the founder Truett said no working on Sundays is because he actually owned a business prior to starting Chick-fil-A where he worked 7 days a week and he was losing time with his family. His dad was an absentee dad and he didn't want that for his family, so he decided to shut down on Sundays to give not only his employees but himself a day of rest or to worship or whatever you want to do on that Sunday. And so that's been the case for over 50 years. And I had to actually sign something when I became a franchisee
that you would not open.
That would not open on Sundays.
Wow.
And so Sundays are a day. Even my wife says, look, Sundays we're not doing anything. So we have family dinners and with her family, and then I try to catch up on football. I serve at church and stuff like that. So that's about it.
What's your day look like? Everybody, thanks to Marcus Lemonis and thanks to Shark Tank,
right?
And thanks to these shows on CNBC, everybody wants to be an owner of a small business.
Right.
What people don't realize is they're like, oh, Jerry, you get to sit here and talk to people. What people don't realize is I got here this morning at 7:30.
Wow.
I was Windexing the windows. I took the trash out.
Yeah.
I made sure we have owned most of this building and made sure that the second floor bathroom, there was a leak going on with the toilet. I had to jiggle the handle to keep it from. So where I'm going is like people don't realize like the mundane, and the long hours, and
by the
the
way,
unsexy
you did a great job on those
things.
windows. I almost walked right into that window.
You're being nice. I did a terrible job. What is what does a day look like for you?
Oh man,
like the hardest worst day.
The hardest worst day, I would say, is going back to people. Unfortunately, we have had in the past. Some people will just not show up.
Yeah.
We don't. Not everybody is happy and excited about going to Chick-fil-A. We try to make sure we vet those people and get them in and get involved into our system. But sometimes we don't execute that well, and the way we want to.
So you have to do their work.
So sometimes if they call out, I got to show up. I mean, even going to your point about wiping on the windows. I was cleaning the bathroom last night at our restaurant and mopping the floors. Our lemonade machine. So I have to pay for repairs and maintenance, right? And so now if something is out of warranty, and it's like a super expensive piece of equipment, Chick-fil-A, my partners might say, hey, we'll help out here or whatever, but for the most part, it's all me.
Sure.
So I had one of my lemonade dispensers was leaking somewhere. So last night I had to flip it up, had to disassemble it, I guess you would say. I kind of break it apart.
Yeah.
I figured out where the leak was coming from, and me and my I call my pit crew chief. We have a pit crew that kind of fixes stuff so that we can focus on driving the business. They come either before or after business, which I am looking for some more pit crew staff. By the way. So last night, me and my pit crew chief, basically we sat there and figured out how to fix it. So I mean, I'm fixing things. And my day started out yesterday, going back to what you just said. My son woke up at 7. So I started out basically after my wife took him to school. I started with emails as soon as they left, so maybe 8:30, 8:45. Made some phone calls. Went to the restaurant around 2, and then got home around 11.
Okay.
And then I woke up this morning. Woke up this morning around 7 again. Got to the restaurant by 9. I'll probably be heading back there afterwards. Now, here's the deal, dude. I'm very passionate about it.
Oh, yeah.
So
I'm the same.
So my wife has to sometimes tell me, Will.
Yeah, come home.
Yes. You got to come
same
home.
With me.
She doesn't have to beg me because I love coming home, obviously. Right. But at the same time, I do like.
I love being at work. I can always find something to do.
Exactly. There's always something to do. Light bulb out. Okay, got to change that. Something, there's always something I'm looking at.
Right.
And so, but yeah, I mean, a lot of the stuff I'm doing myself, until, obviously my pit crew, we're trying to, get that up and get that going, which is going, but we need some more people to help out with that. But, the reality is there's always something to do. And sometimes it comes down to you having to do it. Even one day, my thawing cabinet for our refrigeration unit, it didn't go down, but somebody left the door open. So I have an alarm system on it. At 2 a.m., the people the alarm company called me. I had to get up and drive to the restaurant and go in there and close the door, so that my food would stay at temperature. All our food.
That's an important alarm.
Yes, a very important alarm. Yeah. Right. I'm glad they called. Right. But nobody else is going to get up at 2 a.m. and do that.
No one else
I had to get up and do that myself. So yeah.
What is the expansion plans? What is the growth plans?
Yeah, it's a good question.
I'm sure you're thinking about this constantly, aren't you?
I am. Yeah. I am. Part of being a business owner is yes, how do I perfect what I have now, but also how do we expand? How do we grow?
How often do you think about that?
At this particular point, it's been every day.
Yeah, I think about it every day.
I think about it every day, literally.
Me
and
too.
We're always looking at, so Chick-fil-A puts out a real estate development, kind of a map of places where they're looking at expanding at. And depending on where it is, I could potentially, Eric and I, really myself, could put my name in the hat and say, hey, I'm interested in that spot. How, when is that going to, kind of, what's your projections and when do you think it's going to be a grand opening or whatever the case is? And so, obviously, Eric and I, we love Charlottesville. Yeah. So, this is priority number 1. However, there are other opportunities out there, Northern Virginia, DC, Maryland, that are right around the corner. And so, we are considering, other outside of Charlottesville, but our priority is to stay here. Like we said, we love it here. Family is here.
Would you ever see yourself as an owner-operator of one or a handful of locations that you don't live inside the market?
So that's part of Chick-fil-A's strategy when it comes to brand consistency. The owner-operator has to live in a certain proximity of the locations. Like if there's an opportunity in Northern Virginia,
you'd have to move.
I would have to move, or at least closer to that location.
Is the Charlottesville Central Virginia market already saturated with owners?
I would say there's probably room for one, maybe 2 more.
Yeah.
And so we're actively and kind of watching that, and we've been talking to our partners about what their plans are and giving them some input and some thoughts about where we could potentially see another one here. So. But yeah, I mean, we there's opportunity here still, and so
I think a Holly Mead Forest Lakes would crush it.
Yeah, I mean, so
I would stack paper.
Yeah. I mean, Fifth Street,
right.
Bear
I live in
Road.
Redfields. It would stack paper down Fifth Street.
Yeah, Fifth Street. I mean, so there's so many different opportunities around here that we're like, hey, here are some locations you could consider, and so they've sent, I think, a real estate development team down here to look around and so there may be some other stuff on.
So you basically put like a whisper in their ear,
right?
This particular plot of land or this particular area of our community,
right? This area, because they don't live here. They don't know. They can see on the map as far as their real estate development, reports or whatever about,
drive-by traffic.
Yes, exactly. You got
households in the area.
You're right. You're exactly right. So all of that information they get reports on, but it's nothing like living here. And so I can say, hey, Zion Crossroads maybe, but I would. Right now, opportunity is still closer into Charlottesville.
Sure.
So, and here's what I'm seeing. You know what I'm saying? And so, nothing's guaranteed, obviously, but we definitely are putting that bug in our partners' ears, but right now we're excited about the opportunity in the mall, and people often ask me, is the mall closing? And you
either hear, is the mall closing, or did UVA buy the mall?
Yes.
Do you hear that one all the time?
All the time.
Yeah,
like, you must be in my ear. I mean, that's exactly what I hear. And so they had an opportunity at the downtown mall, and they bought something down there. But UVA did not buy the Fashion Square mall. We are. Yes, Sears did leave. And the retail industry as a whole, nationwide, has shuttered.
Yeah.
I think we are trying to reinvent how we do business, especially because of the Amazon, the success of Amazon and online ordering. I mean, even Gap in our mall has become more of a distribution center.
Right.
So you can pick up online, or you can order online, pick up in the store.
Yeah.
Or they can actually ship from that store.
Sure.
And so I think retail is in a very interesting state right now of reinventing itself.
It's almost in like purgatory.
You're exactly right.
And we're trying to figure out if it's going to go to heaven or hell.
Exactly. You're exactly right.
Yeah.
That's 100% correct. And I think right now with the Fashion Square Mall, we are. I can't speak for the whole entire mall, but I know for Chick-fil-A Fashion Square, we are reinventing ourselves. We are pushing
curbside pickup.
Curbside pickup.
Yeah.
We're trying to make it more convenient.
Sure.
Because convenience is really what we're hearing our customers say they wanted.
Sure.
Hey, Will, is there any way possible I can just come by and pick it up? Well, yes, now there is. We figured out a way to do that. We have parking spaces in the back with our logos on it. You can pull right in. We'll route that out to you. You can get back on the road. We'll deliver. We have Grubhub now as well. We are reinventing ourselves as well, and that's actually helping us see some increase actually this year, even in the midst of Sears leaving and Clark's leaving the mall and some other smaller retailers. But still, obviously the idea is to not have any vacancies in Fashion Square. And so, to be honest with you, the mall is still about 75 and 80% occupied. Now, Sears was a big space, but there's still a lot of occupancy there, and I know they're working on getting other tenants as well. So don't count us out. Still come by and see us. And if you don't have the time, though, we do have other options. We curbside pickup. You can use your mobile phone and download the app. And my wife is giving away some really fun things this week to celebrate my 10-year anniversary with Chick-fil-A, and so be sure to like our page and look at some of the items that we have that we're going to be giving away this week.
James Lewis, Will, it's awesome to see how well you've done with Chick-fil-A.
He was one of my first.
I still remember how strong a leader you were when I worked at Chick-fil-A in high school.
Yes. I was a manager when he just came on board. I actually recruited him and hired him. He's doing well. He went to ECU. That's great.
William Jones III, my man. Salute, Big Will.
Yeah. He owns his Image Barbershop where I get my haircut at. So yeah.
Give it a like and a share on any of the streams you're watching.
Thanks, guys.
James Watson says, Will, Pentagon City Mall, it's a busy mall, no Chick-fil-A. It would kill it there. 50 people a day working in the Pentagon, a short walk or metro right away, plus Amazon is coming to the same area.
Oh,
so people giving suggestions here.
Thanks.
Let me throw this to you. Charlottesville, and we're 50 minutes in. You've crushed this. You've made this easy.
I appreciate it.
Charlottesville as a community and as a business owner. Start kind of with the open-ended question. What's it like running a business in Charlottesville?
It's challenging. It was the most challenging places I've ever been. When I worked for Chick-fil-A corporate, I traveled around and managed their corporate locations. I guess also too back then, finding people was not as big of a challenge as it is now.
A lot of our clients say that the youngest hireable generation, so we're talking like the ones that are middle teens, early 20s, are just so disenchanted with when it comes to actual hard work?
Well, you know, it's funny. I beg to disagree,
Okay.
mainly because we've only, meaning people our age and older, have only been communicated to one way.
Okay.
So now we are now forced to figure out a different way to communicate and engage the next generation coming after us.
So you think it's the employers that are
I think it's
causing
the
the
employers
disenchantment?
that have to figure out and reinvent themselves the same way that retail is reinventing themselves or itself. We have to reinvent the way we communicate. So and how we engage with the next generation.
So you're basically saying how I grew up in restaurants or at other small businesses as an employee working for an owner. You can't bark at them and instruct them harshly to do stuff.
Right. You're going to have to, you know, get on their level to some degree and really engage in conversation and ask them some questions like, hey, what are some of your goals? You know, get them talking about, you know, what they want to do, and then say, oh my gosh, I want to support you in that. Hey, let's do this. Support me in helping me be the best Chick-fil-A restaurant that we can be, and I'll do whatever I can to help support you in whether getting a scholarship or helping you go to you know technical school or whatever the case is. Let's work together with some of these goals. How do I communicate my goals and how do I communicate my vision? Well, we have an Instagram, like an internal Instagram group for my team. We also have Marco Polo that I did not even know what Marco Polo was until late last year. And then my whole team is on a Marco Polo group. We have other types of apps called hot schedules and all kinds of different ways to communicate. And I had to learn it. I had to really reinvent because I grew up in email.
Right.
I tried emailing some of my team members.
They don't even check.
They
right?
don't respond.
Right.
So the question was, how can I engage them? How can I communicate them to get a response? And the only way I found was Marco Polo, texting, you know, WhatsApp or whatever the case is. I think right now the next thing I'm going to try to learn about is TikTok.
Yeah.
I'm not there yet.
TikTok's a big one.
TikTok's a big one.
Yeah.
But I hear that that's kind of the next thing. So I'm toying with the idea of starting with that. But I think employers are going to have to reinvent how we communicate to our team and how we engage them in that way, because otherwise you're going to lose them to somebody else who is able to engage them, and you're always, it's going to be a never-ending cycle, you know, for your business. And so I would suggest that for any business out there listening, how can I engage my team? I mean, there are a lot of different articles out there to read, but I figure the first step is to ask them, what's the best way for me to communicate with you? And then take it from there.
You have gotten really invested in the community through a lot of the folks that you've met at the restaurant and then around town. Paul Harris, who's come on the show, spoke extremely highly about you.
Thanks.
Michael Guthrie.
Yeah.
Keith Smith. A number of folks. Throw this to you. Do we see Charlottesville, you're a young dad, me too. Do we see Charlottesville heading in the right direction for what's best for Charlottesville?
I think we do. I mean, I was able to join a minority business breakfast recently, and it was very encouraging to hear the ideas, the thoughts around how do we engage the whole community, especially after what happened a long time, 2 years ago. How do we move forward from there? And to hear the ideas, to see people from all different backgrounds in there discussing things. That's one of the reasons. Another reason why I want to stay in Charlottesville as long as I can. Yeah. Because I believe in what the city is doing and trying to rectify the wrongs. I believe in the reconciliation processes that are going on, even in smaller group settings. How we're engaging the youth.
Do you feel like you're a leader?
Yeah. Well, I feel like I'm not necessarily. I wouldn't call myself a leader in this particular city. I am.
I feel like you're a leader.
An advocate. I appreciate it, but I'm an advocate. I do support. I have been. I wouldn't say playing the background, but I've been kind of just busy, really, with our restaurant and trying to make sure that is at least a staple to where people can come and no matter who you are and enjoy great food, a great atmosphere, while at the same time I've partnered with certain organizations and said, hey, how can we support you? How can I, what's the best way we can support you in your endeavors of bringing reconciliation to this community? So we've donated nugget trays, or I've given out some gift cards, and to just show my support. I think that's really the most I can do at this point. And sometimes people ask me, well, Will, I don't have anything to do. Sometimes it's all, do what you can. And I always ask people, what do you have in your hand? And whether that be a paintbrush, if you're a good painter, maybe you go and paint some houses. If you're a babysitter, maybe you go and you say, hey, I'm going to babysit for some of these, for some of the single moms out there that need a time off. Or if you have a Chick-fil-A sandwich, maybe you offer that and say, hey, I have a Chick-fil-A sandwich. I would love to invite you to our restaurant. Or hey, how about I bring it to you and support you in your group setting, but I think we are headed in the right direction. I'm excited about what's happening in the city. A lot is happening, and a lot that is being untold, quite frankly. But it's good, and I'm excited about it.
I love it. Yeah. I love it. I'm excited as well. What August 12th birthed this show. Mm-hmm. I was outside this building on August 12th because I was concerned for the city.
Right.
I was concerned for the building.
Yeah.
I wanted to relay to my son, who was in my wife's belly at the time, your dad saw this.
Yeah.
And I was in a funk for 60, 70 days after it.
Right.
And my wife helped me get out of the funk by saying, why don't you either go talk to somebody about this, or do something here with a show.
Yeah.
And this show kind of, the mission is to spotlight the best of Charlottesville, Will Taylors out there, mm-hmm. who are committed to making the community better than when they first arrived. Yeah. Just like with your team members, you want them to be better versions of themselves than when they first arrived at Chick-fil-A.
Right.
I hope, man, as a dad, as someone who's got a business, who doesn't plan to move. Yeah. I really hope we're heading in the right way. Yeah. I got to believe it, right?
Right. You got to. I mean, the only way like I said, you do what you can. And what do you have in your hand? If you have a radio show, right? You do something, and you can't sit idle. Right. You have to get involved somehow, some way, shape or form. There's so many people out here that are initiating things. I mean, if I may, there's even City of Promise. My mother-in-law is overseeing that organization, and there are so many things that they're doing in the community and trying to bring about reconciliation in that community. They don't get a lot of press, but that's what I'm saying. There's so many people. I mean, you can, like you said earlier, the degree of how we met. Sure. To the degree of somebody 2 or 3 people, there is something you can do. Right. There's something you can offer or bring to the table to help this city continue to reinvent itself, to some degree from what happened, years ago. And I think there's, like I said, a lot you can do and a lot going on. Just got to ask and get involved.
You killed it.
Thanks so much, sir. Thanks for your time. I appreciate it.
You killed it. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Will Taylor, guys, one of the co-owners with his wife of Chick-fil-A and Fashion Square. Support this business, a family-owned, locally owned business that is constantly improving and maintaining the incredible standards of Chick-fil-A and the brand. Thank you kindly for watching the program. We'll relay one more message from Traquan Gregory. I worked for Erica and Will while I was in high school, and to this day, they have left such a great impact and life lessons on my life. Wow. Keep striving, you guys. Thank you. And that's from one of his team members. We close the program the same way every single time. We encourage everyone watching the show to embody the golden rule. I don't make this particular show about religion. I do make it about treating other people in your life how you want to be treated yourself. That's the golden rule. I think Charlottesville and the Commonwealth and the country need the golden rule more than ever. So please try to embody that. We'll take today's show and we will archive it on ilovecville.com so you can watch it at any time. It's ilovecville.com. We'll also take the audio and we'll put it onto iTunes where it's going to be turned into a podcast. We'll syndicate today's show on 17 Facebook pages, 17 Twitter accounts, the 3rd largest Instagram community in Central Virginia, and a daily daily e-newsletter that goes out to over 108,000 inboxes. Thank you for joining us. We're going to see you tomorrow at 12:30 on the I Love CVille Show. And tomorrow we have, as a guest, none other than Leontine Clay Peck and Vivian Fegans. They're going to join us, and we're going to talk about the Black literary experience here in Charlottesville and Central Virginia. Enjoy your afternoon. Take care.
Thanks so much. It was great. I appreciate this.
So well,
Yeah,
man.
I appreciate it.
So well. It was easy. It flew by.
Yeah, it really did. I didn't know the time was up. We could have talked for a lot.